Good evening and welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of May 11th. We're starting off today. Well, first of all, I should mention that Robin Hunter is not here yet. We think she's stuck in traffic, so hopefully she will show up as the meeting proceeds. The first item tonight is awarding of a contract to Beals & Thomas, an engineering consulting firm, for an engineering study for the recreational path, the rail trail conversion. This is a contract that we had first seen at our last meeting, and there were a couple of details that we wanted to explore a little further, so we've had a chance to study it. And in discussions between our team here and Beals & Thomas, there have been some changes made. Specifically, the cost has gone from $39,400 to $34,500, representing less meeting time. And the due date is now 5 months instead of 6 months as an outside date. This contract has been worked and negotiated by Walter Avalone, Mike Angieri, and Craig Hughes as our townhouse team, and basically reflects the items that the Rail Trail Study Committee had specified as requiring more professional work than they had the capability to do when they did their rail trail study last year. Mm-hmm. So the Friends of the Dover Greenway, FDG, have raised funds to finance this study. And I would like to reiterate again that this study in no way changes the process that we have talked about for the last 2 or 3 years, which is that the town meeting will need to vote on signing a lease with the MBTA to lease the rail bed. And of course, we'll have to vote if there are any town funds used. So whether there are town funds used or not because of the MBTA lease, the town will decide what to do about the abandoned rail bed by town meeting vote, regardless of who funds this study or any other studies that might come down the pike. Jim, do you have any questions on this?
Well, no, I'm glad in the 1 or 2 meetings since we were first handed this, that they've narrowed their approach to the study rather than the wide encompassing scope that they had in the previous one. So I'm happy with that. Not the happiest with the 5-month process, but with the summer in Dover and everything slows down. And as long as we get this in the fall, and things start perking up, that's fine with me also. I really want to thank the Friends of the Greenway, Dover Greenway, for raising an awful lot of money to continue this, and we'll see where this leads us. But I know the Friends have done an outstanding job, so thank you very much for that. But as far as critiquing the contract, no, I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Okay. I did note that on page 1 of the agreement, that needs to be amended from 39.4 down to 34.5. Right. So our approval will be conditional on that change. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey, for bringing that to our attention. Yeah. And I think the rest of it is fine. So with that being said, and no more additional comment, do I have a motion to approve the contract with Beals & Thomas for the sum of $34,500?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Just Carol to sign?
No, it's all three.
Bless you.
Yep, all three.
Okay.
So I'm just going to change it, an initial on the front page.
Yep.
To 34.5.
Are you going to talk in our name Okay, thank you, so we'll just sign.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mona.
So in order to fund that contract that we just signed, we need to accept the generous gift from the Friends of the Dover Greenway. They've raised the $39,400. I would recommend that, given the nature of the contract, which provides for hourly rates should they require more meetings with us, that we accept the $39,400 that they're willing to give us, with the understanding that that the balance that's left over after this contract is completed would be returned to the Friends of the Dover Greenway.
Okay, and logistically, that isn't a nightmare to return some of it versus,
The system you folks have set in place makes it possible to send it all back to where it came
okay, so we'll vote to expend the full 39.5, yet, okay, good.
So do I have a motion to accept their gift of $39,400?
Accept it, yes?
from. To expend it.
You're
And
expended,
expend it.
yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
I'm sorry, expend it.
That's why I looked on
Yep.
the other side
Yeah,
to see if.
that's right, we accepted it the other day, now we have to expend it, right.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion that we vote to authorize the expenditure of $39,400 from the Dover Greenway gift account.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Good. Well, I'm sure they'll be thrilled with that movement forward.
Absolutely, I think we'll all be interesting to see what they say. And it'll be interesting because the timing is really perfect, because Needham is far along with the south phase of their rail bed. By the fall, it should be done. They've already raising the beds, the rails up and,
Yeah, on a side note, Needham didn't use that Iron Horse. They went out and contracted with another
Yeah.
third party, which was interesting.
yep. Okay, traffic modification at Springdale and Church Street. Mr. Ramsey?
Madam Chair, as you recall, last fall, the board approved a recommendation from the police chief and superintendent of streets to temporarily modify the intersection at Springdale and Church Streets. The idea of calming the traffic going onto Church Street. They did that after you approved it and report that the experiment was a success, and they are now recommending that he made permanent. Essentially, involves narrowing the intersection a little bit and creating more of a right angle. So it's not like a ramp effect onto Church Street.
I remember that there were some citizens, and I got a few phone calls as well as the selectman's office about the speeding around that corner, so they feel that this has really helped.
Yes,
Wonderful.
they support the change.
Were there any incidents with that in place, or there's no incidents report, as far as people missing the mark and running right through the thing? Or
There were no problems
no
reported,
problems?
other than the excessive snow towards the end of the season.
And to Carol's comment about the local residents, everyone is in favor of this?
The representative who's representing the neighborhood has endorsed it on their behalf.
Okay.
Wonderful. And it's a relatively inexpensive fix, I understand,
Minimal, yes.
just through the highway budget.
What's the timing on this, Dave?
Sometime during this construction season?
Okay, so sooner than later.
Yeah.
Good.
So do we need to take a vote on this?
Yes.
I move we transition temporary island into a permanent island at the intersection of Springdale and Church Street.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Another spot to be beautified.
That's
Right, absolutely. You know, that's a good point,
I mean,
because it
really.
is sort of a drab area with a lot of asphalt, and this will add some color to it. And, that's an excellent point.
Okay, at last week's town meeting, a request for an additional $61,000 was approved as a supplemental appropriation to cover the increased cost involved with doing the police dispatch center renovation that was approved at the May 2014 town meeting. So thank you again to the citizens of Dover who attended town meeting for approving that. And we now have the award documents to proceed with the project. So these are the 7 bids that came in.
And in bold is the
Northern,
successful low bidder, Northern Contracting. We are recommending award to Northern Contracting in the amount of $440,100.
And they've been vetted and so forth.
Reference checks have all come out great.
Have they done any work for Dover before?
No,
Has Don Mills worked with them before?
he has not. But he did the reference checks and he checked the DCAM references, which he's required to do, and he's satisfied they will be a good contractor.
Wonderful. So what will be the timing of this?
Hopefully we'll start, the contract documents are not ready for execution, which is why I'm recommending that the board authorize me to execute those documents when they come in. Assuming that's done like this week, we should be able to start mobilizing June 1st and meet the substantial completion deadline of November 1st. Have dispatch back into the dispatch area.
For the winter?
That's interesting. And after July 1st, I take it, the apparatus floor will be worked over too, right?
We will be starting that process come
That's on
July.
both ends of the building, so to speak.
Probably won't commence repair of the floor until the following spring because of the designer selection process.
Okay.
And the planning and
Yep.
there's a long tail on those projects, as we know.
Right.
Before we get to there. So probably be spring of 16 when the floor is done.
Okay. Excuse me.
Well, this has been a long process. It's 5 years, 6 years, whatever. But it'll be exciting to see it done. And I know our
Yes.
public safety folks will be most appreciative
Yep.
when this is done. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve letting the contract to Northern Contracting with the condition that Mr. Ramsey be authorized to execute the contract when all the details have been refined?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? What, I'm getting confused, I'm sorry.
Jump the gun? Jeez.
You second.
Go ahead. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, there we go. You know, we did this two-person show for a while there, too. You think we'd have it
Yeah,
down?
we did. Anything to sign, or? No, okay. Next item on the agenda, moving right along. Vote to approve the expenditure of gift monies from the Arthur Boynton Glidden Conservation Fund. Greer.
After the 2 parcels were purchased at 287 Dedham Street, the Brody property, 2 years ago, as part of the Chapter 61A right of first refusal process, as you know, the Conservation Commission has assumed care and custody of those parcels, and at this time they are requesting that the selectmen approve the expenditure of gift monies for a survey and wetlands delineation of those parcels. They got 3 quotes, and the low quote was an estimate of $2,500, and the Glidden Trust Fund, gift fund allows for conservation use solely, and so they are requesting at this time to use $2,500 of those monies.
Well, this is, having walked that property before the town acquired it, and there is a tremendous amount of open, undeveloped land around it. Certainly the need to stake it and get those property lines taken care of. And of course, obviously, the wetlands was significant, so I can understand why they would want to do that. That's good stewardship on Concom's part. And wonderful that they have gift funds to,
Parcel 10A. Which parcel is it, Carol?
so it's on Strawberry Hill, Dedham Street, it's over this
That's right.
one. It's either this one or this one.
Yeah, let's see.
What, the bigger the number?
7.38 acres.
So it's these two.
Okay, good.
Because all the land that is, this is basically undeveloped down here, this is all undeveloped here.
Okay. Thank you. So, would you like me to make that motion?
Please.
I'll make the motion that we vote to authorize expenditure of the gift not to exceed $2,500 from the Glidden Conservation Gift Fund.
Second. All in favor,
Aye.
please say aye.
Okay, just one?
Thank you. Well, tonight begins a series of meetings over the next 2 months or so where we renegotiate the license agreements for the tenants, the licensees at the Carroll Community Center. Those tenants being very appreciative of the town meeting vote to renovate the bathrooms there. So we have the first one, Aaron School of Dance, longtime licensee there, with an increased rent.
Percentage-wise, was that?
5%.
5%,
Yeah.
thank you.
So these rents from the licensees do tend to cover almost all the operating expenses of
Yeah.
of the building. Very fortunate, and of course, they provide a service to Dover citizens and kids as well.
And I would like to say that on the favorable side of the town meeting vote on Article 11, that, you know, the town putting money into the building will probably make it more attractive for the sort of transient users, and it'll be better for the licensed, three independent, third-party license, I should say, that they're more apt to say, hey, geez, come visit our space, the building looks nice. So I'm very appreciative of the town voting that in.
And make a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, CMAC did a great job in
Oh, Kathy Wallenstein did a tremendous
Yeah.
job.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve the license agreement with Aaron School of Dance for fiscal year 16?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
3 copies, just count.
Just Carol, 3 copies, thank you.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Next item is the authorization for fiscal year 15 Board of Health Septic Revolving Fund increase. Ms. Fugach.
The length of time during which the warrant is open and closed by the board is from, it's a couple of months between November and January. It's very hard to project what activities there might be for inspectional services. And based on the influx of applications into the Board of Health into their septic revolving fund, in the increase in inspections, they are projecting now that they will be needing a limit of $50,000, not $40,000 in that revolving account, and they are asking for the board to increase that this evening.
Probably indicative of the increased development of
That's
new housing as well as renovations.
Yes, and I believe they did that last year as well.
They did, and I was just going to suggest that if 2 years in a row it's required, then maybe at next town meeting it might be worthwhile increasing it. And in fact, if the economy continues to grow the way it is, I can't wait to see the new growth tax number, then,
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
the sole reason, the timing of this request past the open warrant?
That's right, because it was during the winter months.
Right.
And the activity has increased significantly. So Dr. Roth Schechter feels that it would be wise to increase that.
So logistically, how would this be lowered if in fact they didn't need the 50,000 in the trend?
It's just a cap, Mr. Dahl.
Okay,
So if they
The revol-
don't-
okay. I'm used to the park and rec revolver, so,
oh,
I-
so, yeah,
It is
Okay.
money in, money out,
yeah.
okay,
the inspectors.
oh, good,
Yeah.
okay. I guess, I don't have an issue with it.
Okay, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, I will make the motion that we increase the budget the septic revolving account budget to $50,000 pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half of the Mass General Laws.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. 50,000. What, was it a $10,000 increase last year also?
I think they left it level at 40.
No, they did increase at mid-year last year.
Oh, they
I just-
Yes, they did.
Was it-
That's
was
it
what
10
they asked
then?
for permission.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't recall how much it was in the range of $8,000 to $10,000. Yes,
That's why I think 2 years running, it's sort of,
yes,
Yeah, right.
we can do that.
2 years makes a trend.
Yes.
Right.
1 year makes a data point.
So, when the warrant opens next year, we should keep this in mind.
We will. We'll make a copy and put it in the file now.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is determination of the next board meeting, but given that we only have one member of the Board of Selectmen who will be at the next board meeting, I would suggest that we just not do that and work that offline.
Okay, so
Okay.
Technically, we can work that offline?
Yes.
Okay, much like changing a selectmen date.
Scheduling is fine.
Okay,
Okay, other business, reserve fund transfer, 'tis the season. Building maintenance, Carroll Community Center. So we had approved a prior notice back in April for $1,000 to cover the work that was done with the flue pipe and the breaching repair on boiler number 2. And it looks like we will need to do the reserve fund for the same amount.
right. Okay, and,
So to have a motion to approve, well, I'll move to approve a reserve fund transfer for $1,000 in the building maintenance.
seconded,
All in favor?
Aye.
No? Okay. We have second one for the Carroll Community Center to handle the snow and ice removal. This too was a prior notice back in April for $2,000, and that's the amount of the reserve fund transfer, so I move a $2,000 reserve fund transfer for building
Second.
maintenance. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a final number yet for the snow and ice budget? Just out of morbid curiosity.
We do, it's just shy of $300,000
oh, I would have thought it was gonna be more.
over.
Oh, over.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, so it's
so,
close to 500,000, I think.
yeah, okay, that's the number that was in my mind.
I don't know how we could have spent that much money, it was 85 degrees today.
It really went from snow to 85 degrees.
Yeah, there was just
Isn't that
no
crazy?
spring.
No spring at all.
You know, if you go to some of the mall parking lots, you can still see piles of that filthy snow from where they just made the mountains.
Really?
Okay, one more reserve fund transfer for the Carroll House. This too was the issue that we discussed back in April for $19,000 to cover the oil tank that had to be replaced due to a leak for the caretaker's building. And this, our discussion revolved around the fact that for major system-wide repairs of the Carroll House, even though it's under the stewardship of the Dover Historical Society, that it is a town building that the town is responsible for. But because these occur so rarely, we don't keep a maintenance line item in our annual operating budget. Hence the reserve fund transfer.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Highway bid awards. I think perhaps what we should do is review all four together and just do one vote.
Okay.
So we have the bituminous concrete award. Have we used, Greer, are you doing these?
We have used T.L. Edwards many times, and they do a beautiful job.
And the cost is down?
Yeah, it's here it is.
Well, the cost of
fuel
oil
is-
is way down, so that drives a
Yeah,
lot of
that's good,
this
right.
pricing.
Yep. Down is good. Next one is Highway Safety Systems, Inc. for pavement markings.
Is the pavement marking part of the 5-year plan?
It's done every year.
Done every year. So the major thoroughfares are done every year?
All of the line painting is done every year.
Okay.
This is my last one. 15 years of discussing this. Somebody want to guess? So
Thermoplastic.
So I've actually been watching the yellow line on the new bridge on Willow Street connecting Needham and Dover.
Yeah.
Which I think is the state did,
Mhm.
right? And they did thermoplastic,
Yes, that's their standard spec.
right? And it's holding up quite well. And it's cheaper.
Yet. No, it's a legitimate question. So is it a superintendent of the highways choice to use the painted versus the thermoplastic?
Yes. He
Okay,
has
so-
concerns about the effect of the thermoplastic on the pavement surface itself. And he cites some of the major highways where you see the deterioration of road surfaces actually where the lines are painted, they're thermoplastic. That said, thermoplastic is the state standard and has been for a while. But we have never used it. Except I believe on crosswalks, the raised, stamped crosswalks, I believe the lines on either side are thermoplastic.
Perhaps in the near future, we could experiment, could you experiment in, maybe on some of the lesser traveled streets, use a thermoplastic and see how it goes,
We certainly could.
something to look
We can
forward to. I
discuss
mean,
that.
it's not a big deal as far as a $33 million budget, but every penny counts in my mind.
Oh, it's 25%.
Right, the big difference in pricing here,
Yes, right, yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, no, it's a percentage of the, but it's 25% of that particular effort. And given that it is a state standard,
Right,
it would be worthwhile at least to experiment with it to see if our pavement does.
yeah,
Stand
especially on
up.
some of the lesser travel streets.
Yeah.
I can understand Dedham and Farm and Center Street perhaps going old school, so to speak, but,
Now, remember that the state had that horrible, it was on 128, wasn't it? Or on 95, where the pavement just deteriorated where the lines were? And they had to go through and, yeah.
okay.
But the pavement on the Willow Street Bridge looks pretty nice. Sorry.
No
Last
problem.
I will bring this up next year, Carol.
To see how it went?
No.
Next one, catch basins.
Yeah. Now, we're doing this twice a year now, catch basins?
We are,
That changed, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
yes.
Yeah.
And they're going to the hazmat, right. We have 2,144 catch basins. Fascinating.
That is fascinating. I wouldn't have guessed that many.
I think it's actually half of that, but we do it
Oh,
twice.
times two. So we have 1,067, 1,067. And the price has gone up, wow,
Significantly.
because of the hazardous waste aspect of it?
It's not clear to us.
Yes, yeah, the superintendent of streets is not clear either. We've used both of these companies in the past, and BMC we thought would come in lower than Gabriel Construction, and they actually did quite a bit higher.
Who the fiscal year 15 vendor, was that BMC or Gabriel?
Gabriel was this past year, and they were at $21.75. So that was the first year we removed the sand. Now it's unclear. Perhaps they didn't profit from that last year, so they may be now compensating for that.
What do we have in the budget for this?
We budgeted less dollars in that line item, but because it's fiscal 16 money, at this point at least, it looks like we can cover the overage.
Okay. Okay.
I think it would be nice to find out why, just so when we're budgeting for next year,
Right.
we can anticipate, if it's out of their control and has to do with the dumping fees at the hazmat end. For,
We can,
it's-
we
yeah.
can have.
You can
Yeah.
inquire.
Yeah, sure.
And the last one is tree pruning. Where are we here? The lowest bidder this year is Tree Tech, who we've used before.
Yeah.
Boy, look at that difference in, between the high and the low.
And we have used J.W. Falk
Yeah.
before, so it was quite surprising.
The second bidder, I'm familiar with them, and they're always a
Yes.
little more expensive.
Yeah.
How does that bid go out, 17 trees, and what's the spec of a bid like this?
It's by street, and it describes the type of pruning work to do, but it doesn't obviously itemize every twig that gets taken down. So there's some vagueness in the spec by its nature.
The tree warden works with them, goes out and if they look at it, he tells them exactly what he wants and.
Oh, it's part of the bid
follows up with them.
process? It's part of the bid process?
It is part of the process, yes.
So, okay. And John will continue to be tree warden even though he's retiring from,
He wants to, if the board will reappoint him, whatever
Okay.
that's going to be.
And this is only for the highway department trees, right? Doesn't cover cemetery, they do their own thing.
No.
Right, this is roadside.
interesting. Okay.
Be interesting to see if there's an economy of scale there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have four bids to approve. I move we approve the bids as recommended in the 4 documents we've just reviewed.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just Carol, correct?
Just Carol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Special licenses, 9. All at the Connor Center. I will just read these off. They've all,
7 at the time, so.
oh, 7?
Yeah, and the last 2 are.
Ah.
Wow.
and they've all been approved by the chief. So we have the Connor Center on May 26th, Connor Center on June 6th for a wedding, June 7th for a wedding, June 13th for a graduation party, June 14th for an anniversary party, June 27th for a wedding, July 3rd for a wedding. That's it for the Connor Center. And then we have at Elm Bank on June 17th, employee appreciation event, and a wedding on June 19th. Do I have a motion to approve all 9?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Some signing to do. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Good.
Next item is the approval of the minutes of April 27th. I did do an edit that I sent to Mona from the one that you saw, Jim, on
Yeah.
line number, like 131, 132.
Mm-hmm.
At 130, so line 135, 136, 37, 138. Just to clarify my remarks on that.
That's fine.
Yep.
Perfect. Good, I have no changes, thank you. Thank you, Mona.
I move we approve the minutes of April 27th as submitted.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens' comments?
I will be a citizen for a moment, just to thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
And I'll miss sitting on the right or left or in the middle and all that good stuff. We've done it for 5 years. And honestly, I said it at town meeting, but I'll miss you some.
Thank you very much. I'll miss you all. Election is May 18th. There is one person running for the Board of Selectmen. I don't think there are any contested seats, but it would be nice.
School committee.
School committee, oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, take that back. So please go out and vote on May 18th. The townhouse is open all day long from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And out of respect for your fellow citizens who are choosing to volunteer their services, it would be nice to get a good turnout. Also, on May 28th, and this is on the website, Dover website as well, there's going to be a very interesting meeting sponsored by the Springdale Study Committee that's looking into the reuse of 46 Springdale that the town meeting approved last November. And the senior policy analyst at Mass Audubon, who works with towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts on studying the benefits and options for housing versus open space, and how to meet the needs, some of the ecological needs of communities while addressing development needs as well. And the Mass Audubon has been working on this for probably close to a decade with some amazing, amazing results and tremendous expertise. So she is coming in, Heidi Ritchie, to just present on what other towns have done on pieces of property like the 27 acres on Springdale. And just to understand, so we understand what the various alternatives are and when you think outside the box, what kind of opportunities you might have. So it should be very, very interesting. I hope it gets televised as well. I hope they've arranged that because I've seen several of these presentations throughout the years in different towns in Massachusetts, and they really are fascinating.
I did ask the chair of the Springdale Study Committee to look into the television
Okay.
aspect of it.
Okay. That's at 7 p.m. in the Great Hall. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great 9 years. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Quickly.
I will make the motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I thought I had it together.
You did.